I started off as a self-supporting ordained minister. Half of my ordained ministry has been done on a self-supporting basis. So the passion comes from my own calling and my own experience. I also see how many gifted, talented, brilliant self-supporting ordained ministers we have around the church. Some of them are associates helping out in parishes. Others are actually running the parishes as the vicar, as the incumbent. Some work in chaplaincy, do all sorts of things. I think sometimes people think of self-supporting ordained ministers as free labour, but actually what we're missing when we think of it like that is the distinctive nature of the ministry. And so I can think of self-supporting ordained ministers who are vets or teaching assistants or doctors, and their professional and work experience brings something distinctive to their ministry. As I trained to be ordained, I was working as a probation officer, and my professional training and experience within the probation service meant that in my ordained ministry, I have a particular perspective around church safeguarding. And I think that's been a gift to the church. Similarly, being ordained and in a secular workplace opens up opportunities there to pray for and with colleagues to have conversations about faith that I wouldn't have if I wasn't in that workplace. And I think that's true for each self-supporting ordained ministry who has what we call a bivocational vocation. So you've got two vocations there running alongside each other. And I think it's also true for those who come into self-supporting ordained ministry in later life, where they've perhaps retired early from a profession, is they bring all that professional experience and knowledge and networks into their ordained ministry. So there is something really quite special about it. When self-supporting ministry first started in the Church of England, which is over 60 years ago now, there was a special course set up in Southwark Diocese to train deacons and priests that was designed for those who were working in industry and either felt their calling was to continue in that work or needed a flexible approach to training. So that's over 60 years ago. And courses like that have grown within the church, and different ways of training that are much more flexible. So part-time courses that can be very embedded in places of worship and chaplaincies as well. So we have different models of training, and there's much greater support than there would have been traditionally. I have huge sympathy for people who are trying to juggle all sorts of things while they train. So when I trained, I was working full-time in the probation service, and I had a small child. And when I was ordained, I was pregnant with my second child. It comes at a cost, but it's really rich as all those different parts of your life have to hang together. When I started out, I really felt I still had a calling to my secular profession, and I wanted to continue in that work. And so for me, the obvious option was self-supporting ministry. And that is absolutely what I was called to. And I didn't imagine that I would end up in a senior position in the church, because all of those tend to be paid and it would involve giving up a profession. But God's calling, I think we discern it sometimes in stages. I've always felt it's one step at a time, because it's too big otherwise. And I think I'd have been overwhelmed at the thought that I might at some point give up my paid work and work for the church. I think we have different seasons in life when God may call us to train self-supporting. God may even call us to do our curacy self-supporting. But it might be at a different stage of life. I think there's probably two first steps if you feel the calling. One is to explore that with somebody like the minister in your church, or if you have a spiritual director, with them, but to just talk with somebody about this and to try and test out whether other people are discerning that too. Every diocese in the Church of England has a ministry department, and they put on special events for people who are exploring their calling. And that's the sort of thing to book into really early on, to start to have your eyes opened as to what the possibilities are, which is really helpful.